The scent of roasting coffee beans, a rich, nutty aroma, still reminds me of her. That's how it started. Not with a bang, but with the quiet hum of a commercial espresso machine and a clumsy collision outside a downtown cafe. I'd spilled my lukewarm latte down her crisp white blouse. Her eyes, the color of warm honey, had widened in surprise, then crinkled at the corners as a laugh, light as a chime, escaped her lips. "Oh, clumsy," she teased, not a hint of anger in her voice. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry," I'd stammered, fumbling for napkins. That was Chloe, always seeing the humor, even in a disaster. We'd talked for hours that day, leaning against the grimy brick wall of the cafe, the city's pulse a dull thrum around us. She was an architect. I was a software engineer. We built different things, but we shared a vision, a future, perfectly designed, meticulously coded, with us at its core. The proposal came 2 years later, on a chilly autumn evening in Central Park. Leaves crunched underfoot, a symphony of reds and golds. I'd knelt by the duck pond, the city lights shimmering across the water like scattered diamonds. Her gasp had been a soft puff of air, followed by a breathless yes, 1,000 times yes. We'd spent the next few months in a blissful haze, planning our dream wedding. A rustic chic barn venue upstate, string lights, wildflowers, and a jazz band. Every detail meticulously chosen, every payment made. 3 weeks. Just 3 weeks until I said I do to the woman I believed was my forever. "Did you remember to send the final head count to the caterer?" Chloe asked, her voice a little too sharp as she scrolled through her phone one evening. The aroma of our takeout Thai food filled the apartment, usually a comforting scent. "Already done," I replied, trying to keep my tone light. "And the band's confirmed. My parents arrive next Tuesday. Yours on Thursday." She hummed a low, almost tuneless sound. Right, her eyes remained glued to the screen. Lately, that's how it had been. Distant, preoccupied. Our usual nightly debriefs. The easy banter had dwindled to terse questions and monosyllabic answers. She'd started working late, her phone always just out of my sight. "Okay?" I'd asked a few times, my voice laced with a concern I couldn't quite hide. "Just stressed with work, babe," she'd always replied without looking up. "Big project. You know how it is?" I wanted to believe. Her, I did. But a cold knot had begun to form in my stomach, tightening with each passing day, each unanswered call, each text that went unread for hours. The silence stretched between us, thick and suffocating, filling the space where laughter and shared dreams once resided. Then came the text. Not a call, not a face-to-face conversation. Text. My phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. A mundane interruption to my morning coffee. I picked it up, expecting a grocery list reminder or a funny meme. "I can't do this. I'm sorry. Please don't call me." The words hit me like a physical blow. The mug slipped. From my fingers, crash. Ceramic shards scattered across the tile, coffee splattering like dark blood. My chest constricted. "No," I whispered, the sound raw, disbelieving. My thumb hovered over the call button, but her words echoed. "Please don't call me." I stared at the screen, willing the message to disappear, to be a cruel joke. A glitch. It didn't. My phone rang off the hook for days. My parents, confused. Her parents distraught. Our friends, baffled. "What happened, Alex?" "My best man, Mark," he asked, his voice strained. "She just vanished." I tried to explain, but the words caught in my throat. "I don't know, Mark. She just sent a text." That's it. Rage, hot and blinding, began to simmer beneath the confusion. It wasn't just a broken engagement. It was a public humiliation. The venue was calling, asking about the final payment. The caterer was confirming the menu, and the band leader was wondering if we still wanted the jazz trio or preferred a DJ. Each interaction was a fresh stab, a reminder of the dream that had shattered into a million pieces. I walked the city streets for hours, aimless, the concrete. Jungle, a blur of indifferent faces. The pain was a dull ache, a constant companion. Sleep was a luxury I couldn't afford, haunted by the ghost of our future. Weeks blurred into a hazy nightmare. It was a zombie, moving through the motions, answering questions with grunts and avoiding eye contact. Then, one Tuesday afternoon, Mark came over, a grim expression on his face. He sat on my couch, a beer in his hand, and sighed. "Look, man," he said, his voice low. "I hate to do this, but you need to see something." He pulled out his phone, a picture already open. My breath hitched. It was Chloe, laughing. Her arm was linked with a man I vaguely recognized. They were on a beach, sunset behind them, looking far too comfortable, far too happy. Who is that?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Mark hesitated. He's in her architectural firm. "Name's Ben. I saw this on Sarah's Instagram. She tagged him in an old photo." My mind raced, scrambling for connections. Ben. The name echoed in my head, a distant, irritating hum. Then it hit me. The engagement party, the grand ballroom, the string quartet, the clinking glasses, Chloe radiant in her sapphire dress, introducing me to everyone. "Alex, this is Ben," she'd said, her hand resting lightly on his arm. "He's a new colleague. Just started last month." He'd smiled, a polite, almost shy smile, and extended his hand. "Congratulations, man. Chloe talks about you all the time." I'd shaken his hand, a firm, unsuspecting grip. I think the memory was a punch to the gut. The man she was now openly vacationing with, the man she'd invited to our engagement party, was the same man she'd been seeing behind my back. Not just a random fling, but a calculated, deliberate betrayal. My stomach churned. The rage returned. Hotter and sharper this time, but it wasn't loud. It was a silent inferno, burning deep within. I didn't call her. I didn't text. I didn't beg. I just went quiet. The silence was a shield, a weapon. I stopped answering calls from mutual friends who wanted to know what happened. I spent my days walking, my feet pounding the pavement, the rhythm, a bum to my raw nerves. The city, once a symbol of our shared dreams, became my confessional. I walked through parks, sat by the river, and watched strangers live their lives. Slowly, painstakingly, I pieced myself back together. The pain was still there, a phantom limb, but the confusion began to dissipate, replaced by a cold, clear clarity. There would be no closure from her. It would only be the closure I created for myself. The idea came to me on one of those long walks. A public wedding website. Every couple had one, a place for guests to RSVP, find venue details, and explore gift registries. But mine would be different. A quiet, elegant digital tombstone for a love that never was. I bought a new domain name, something generic and innocuous. Smith-joneswedding.com. I designed it with a minimalist aesthetic. Clean lines, elegant fonts, and soft pastels. On the homepage, I placed our engagement photo, the one where we were laughing, wrapped in each other's arms, the city skyline a glittering backdrop. It looked perfect, innocent. Then I started adding the details. The Our Story section. I wrote about our first meeting at the cafe, the spilled latte, and the hours of conversation. I wrote about the proposal in Central Park, the crunch of leaves and the shimmer of lights. I wrote about the planning, the excitement, and the shared vision of our future. All true, all beautiful. And then subtly, I wove in the threads of betrayal. I didn't name names. I didn't accuse. I just shifted the narrative ever so slightly. Under the RSVP tab, instead of a form, I put a simple message. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the wedding of Chloe and Alex has been canceled. We regret any inconvenience this may cause. Beneath it, a small, almost unnoticeable link. Learn more about our journey. That link led to a page I titled A New Chapter. Here I wrote about the sudden silence and the growing distance. I wrote about the text message, word for word. I described the confusion, the pain, and the feeling of being discarded. And then, the revelation. It was only later that I discovered the reason for the sudden change of heart. A new connection had been forged, not just a casual acquaintance, but someone who had been present at our engagement party, shaking hands, offering congratulations, all while a different kind of story was already unfolding behind the scenes. No names, no accusations. Just the quiet, undeniable truth, laid bare for anyone who cared to look. The gift registry section was replaced with a link to a local animal shelter, encouraging donations in lieu of gifts, a quiet nod to the kindness I still believed in, even after being broken. I waited a week, letting the site sit, letting the words marinate. Then, one sunny afternoon, I opened Instagram. I selected our engagement photo, the one where our smiles were so genuine, so full of hope. I cropped it slightly, focusing on our faces, the joy radiating from us. And for the caption I wrote, "Glad I dodged the wrong forever." I hit post. Whoosh. The digital world sucked it in. The likes came first, a trickle, then a flood. Then the comments. "So sorry, Alex. What happened? Oh my God, you look so happy here." And then the private messages, friends, acquaintances, and even distant relatives asking for details. I didn't respond to any of them directly. Instead, simply replied to a few with a link to the wedding website. Quietly, inoffensively, the news spread like wildfire. A digital whisper network. Mutual friends seeing the photo, the caption, clicking the link, and reading the story. The subtle details, the quiet revelations, resonated. People started talking. Chloe's name, Ben's name, the engagement party. The puzzle pieces clicked into place for everyone. The shock, the disbelief, the outrage. It wasn't me shouting from the rooftops. It was the truth, quietly presented, allowing others to draw their own conclusions. My phone buzzed, vibrating insistently on my nightstand. It was Chloe, an unknown number. I let it ring, then another, and another. Finally, a text. "What the F, Alex? Are you insane? You're ruining my life? Take that garbage down. Now?" I read it. I didn't respond. I didn't engage. The silence was my answer. My revenge wasn't loud. It was poetic. It was permanent. Website remained. The post remained. The truth, quietly, relentlessly, echoed across the digital landscape. Life slowly began to fill the void. I started going to the gym again. The sweat is a cleansing ritual. I reconnected with old friends, not to vent about Chloe, but to laugh, to simply be. I threw myself into a new project at work, the complex code a welcome distraction, a tangible thing I could build and control. The city, once a symbol of my heartbreak, became a canvas for new beginnings. I walked with my head held high, the ache in my chest less frequent, less sharp. She broke my heart. I just made sure she couldn't hide behind the version of herself she sold to the world. And in that quiet act of defiance, I found a strange, unexpected peace. Hope, like a stubborn weed, pushed through the cracks in the pavement, blooming in the most unlikely of places.